Okay, so I'm going to go to open from my computer, and my images, I'm going to use this one. I used a different one in the video, so this is kind of cool that you'll see it differently there. I am also going to open my texture, which I forget where I put it in my downloads. Okay, so here's my texture. Actually, I also want to try the one that had the here from the book. Alrighty, so first thing you're gonna do, I always wonder, okay, never mind all that. So first thing I'm gonna do is drag my background down next to the garbage can to this paper that has a page end of it folded over. So now I have two, a background copy and regular. Because if I were to make a mistake and draw on, you could be doing anything. That could ruin it because I'm right on top of the picture. Okay, so I can't get rid of it. If obviously you can go edit undo. And it will get rid of it. Because I have to go back even more. Okay. If I create a new layer and then I make some scribbles on it, it's not going to affect the layers underneath. So there it is all by itself. I can move this, whatever, and still have this one not be not ruined, I guess. Okay, so with the background copy, I'm gonna lock this because I don't want anything to happen to this one, because if it does, then I can always go back and copy it again. Okay, so at the bottom, okay, there are some icons. You've got the garbage that you can trash these layers. The page with the corner is a new layer, or if you drag it down, it'll copy it. The one where the camera is a mask, so that this is what we use to erase or unerase. And this one is our adjustment layers. Okay, so for starters, I'm going to make an adjustment layer and I'm going to change the brightness. So it's dark. It's supposed to be dark. I'm going to brighten up. I'm just concentrating on the face. So too much contrast is going to not be what I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm just, again, looking at the face. So if I turn this on and off, you'll see the difference in those. Okay, I'm going to click on this button again to get rid of this fly out thing. Which I couldn't figure out how to get rid of that before. Okay, so I'm not happy with the background being so light, but I do like just the face. I like this dark. Okay, so what I'm going to do over here in the rectangle, I'm going to use my paintbrush. So this is going to be my eraser. I'm going to make this, actually, just to show you. So you can see how much darker that is. This is my eraser technically. You can see how hard that edge is too. So here's the size of my brush and the hardness or softness. So if I have a softer brush and I go to click that, it's just going to be a lot easier for me to feather and blend those. So two things you could do. You could get your paintbrush and paint all the stuff that you want to be darker than how it is. Definitely the arm there. And definitely this, because there's stuff back there that is not necessary to be in the picture. And this I liked a little bit darker. So when I turn this on and off, the face area, actually I like this darker too. Okay, so essentially on the right hand side, you can see what I wanted to be dark and light. Okay, there's a quicker way of doing that. Actually, I'll show you that. I'm going to make another adjustment layer just for the sake of showing you. Let's do this. Hue. Okay, hue and saturation. There, you can't miss that. So in here, okay, because I want to do some erasing. So if I wanted to erase this part, you know, I can use my black paintbrush, or this is the cool thing. So if I want to use white, oops, I can switch it back to white if I just keep flicking this back and forth. So I can, this is what I'm saying about unerasing it. So if I wanted to, I could go back to this one at any point and just paint more black or paint more white, and it would erase that part. Okay, I know I'm confusing you guys. It's a lot of stuff, but when you get to parts that are confusing, just go back and watch the video. So here, I want to get rid of most of this green. Okay, so I'm going to double click in here, and it pulls this up. But if I click invert, instead of this being white and me having to paint most of it black like I did here, I'm going to click invert. And now this time, all I have to do is paint with my white brush, and I can get a little bit of that color coming through. So that's kind of ridiculous. I wasn't going for that. But actually, you could, gosh, I need a pretty big brush. If you wanted to, you could make it so that the lights all turned green. Just showing you that that's an option. So starting with the black background and then adding the white. So kind of cool, but okay, getting rid of that. So now I'm happy with this. This is distracting me. So here's another cool thing that we can do. I didn't demo this last time. There is a button, and it's not on here. Photoshop has it, but this one. Okay, I don't like working with hard brushes because you see too much of the edge. But I'm going to see what happens if I take this and go over it. Well, that wasn't good. Oh, okay. So you could see that it was finding the area around it to get rid of it, but that didn't work. But some things, like if you wanted to get rid of a light or something, you can click on it and it just finds the area and will erase that, but I don't want to get rid of that. I was just kind of hoping that this would have disappeared, which is easier in Photoshop. So I'm going to crop this, and I'm happy with the stuff on the side. I love the background. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this. I'm going to leave some space up at the top, and I'm going to click OK. So here's my picture. I could save this as, I could export this as a JPEG. So now this goes downloaded to my computer. So now I have this nice touched up image. Now I'm going to put some of this background in here. So I want to drag this picture into that one. So now I totally confused you. Okay, let me go back. So you could either drag it, this is my move tool, you can drag it and put it into this one, drag it in there, or you can go back and select it all, copy it, edit, copy, paste, that's all we're doing. Paste. No. Select all, edit, copy, and edit, paste. It is not cooperating. Okay, so I'm gonna drag it then. It just copied it to this document here. All right, so anyway, here's my texture. So it's on top of all of these layers, and I need it to just be like a little bit of extra pizzazz for the picture. So right now this is on normal. Okay, so here's all my layers, but the top one is just very opaque. So I'm going to try some of these different ones. So there's darken, multiply, lighten, screen. You could try a whole bunch of these. They're all going to give you something completely different. Soft light. That one's pretty cool. Maybe that one doesn't work at all. Let me do this one. So I'm going to click, drag. Okay, this one is way too small for this, so I'm going to okay, so again, I'll try different blend modes for this. Overlay, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? You don't have to keep it straight like that. Any of these that I'm giving you are, you know, it's not something, I didn't hijack them from the internet. It was from a class that I took, and they share them there. But you could, you know, take a picture of the bottom of your shoe, whatever. I just don't like using from Google, even though this is totally acceptable because I am adding it as a component to my project, but not completely doing it. All right, so let me put this one back on. I could go to this one. I'm on the green. Filter, blur. I don't really like how textured that was. It was a little too much. So if I blur it, I don't even see it anymore. Oops. I'll go a little bit more blurred. Okay, at least it's something in there. So if I don't want this in different areas, this is also where you're going to use that tool. So where it makes her arm really blotchy there. So I'm going to make the mask, and in here I am painting with black. Okay, so I'm going to erase that off of that part of her arm. Usually if there's anything on the face, you don't want that. So okay, but it is pretty cool in the background, so I'm going to leave that. I'm going to put this background layer in, and I'm going to scale that back too, a little bit more. Okay, make another mask and go in there. And I don't really want it on the parts of her face again. Part of it's kind of cool, but And then her arm again. Although it does look kind of cool. So the one thing you can do in Photoshop that I can't do here is to change the color. Like this doesn't have to be green. I could change it, but the only problem is on this one, I can't figure out yet how to make this blend mode, or I mean this adjustment only work for that green one. Because you can, you know, as I showed you before, these, you know, if you, but it's changing all of that and it's not supposed to. Okay, so one other thing, there's a picture I want to add. Oop, desktop. Okay, so I want to take parts of this picture. So I'm going to drag this in here too. Drag it until I get to the tab, and then here it is. Okay, and I don't want all of this to show, so I'm going to make that mask. Take my brush, make it bigger. Okay. So yes, this is very obvious that it's not in here, but so this is, I would go in, I would zoom in and do a better job at erasing some of this other stuff. Okay, and it's also very, it doesn't make sense. What I want to use this for is so that I can make a bokeh filter. Bokeh filters are used with light, and you'll see them a lot on Instagram. Oops, I'm trying to erase that. But they're very blurry. So I can blur this just as I did with that other layer. I'm going to go filter, blur. I tend to go to Gaussian blur. And then, so now we've got this cool, it's blurred. I'm going to put that on top so I don't have the lettering through it. I wish it was warmer though. That's the only drawback. Again, I can't figure out how to get my adjustment layer, because otherwise I could just saturate it more and it'll go back to that goldy color. But I can't. So if that doesn't work for your picture, then don't do it. But, you know, here, where is it? Okay, so it just adds a little something to the picture. I'd have to erase that. If I want to go back, so notice that I am on this layer, so that's how I'm able to move this around. Otherwise, you could pick a different layer and move that. So I guess this one will be the easiest. Click on that, and then you can move that around. I think it defaults to auto select, which means that whatever you click on is going to find the layer that it is. So once you have a ton of layers like this, it gets really hard. So here I'm going to click and it automatically selects that one. If I want it to do something up here, but if I want to select just her, I can't because this is on top anyway. So if that's the case, you just auto select off, and then you can move this one around. All right, so that was a lot of stuff. I know, and I'm sorry, and I just want you to have these tutorial videos to work off of. So again, oh, I just clicked. I'm gonna file, save as a PSD. Okay, so this downloads to my computer. So a PSD, I can open up and all these layers are going to show up again and I can go back and make changes. When I'm all done, I can file export as a JPEG. And now this is something that when it goes to your phone, because it's a JPEG, you'll be able to open it back up. But a PSD, you can't open on your phone, but the JPEGs are what you're going to hand in for your finals so that they can just be easily opened somewhere. The other thing is you guys have in your phones